Hi, I'm Eddy and I am a PhD student at Deakin University in Australia. My paper, titled Silence Speaks Volumes, Representations of Nonverbalism in Young Adult Fiction, is a close-reading literary analysis of the stereotypes, tropes and misrepresentations surrounding those who cannot or do not speak in young adult fiction. This project aims to answer the question, how is nonverbalism represented in young adult novels? And in order to do this, my paper aims to address how fictional works position the implied reader to respond to the ideologies, messages, and assumptions surrounding nonverbalism, how cultural and historical metanarratives of disability impact representations of nonverbalism in literature, and how the representations of nonverbalism in texts for young people potentially invalidate nonverbal means of communication. Despite how far representation of minorities and disability has come in recent years, and the efforts made to destigmatize differences, the representations of nonverbalism are still plagued by harmful stereotypes and tropes. Representations in fiction is a powerful tool that has the ability to influence how young people are perceived, especially in young adult fiction, as young readers are at a crucial point in their lives where they are developing their own identities and constructing their worldviews. This includes their understanding, however limited, of disability. This limited understanding of disability affects how they perceive disability and how people with disabilities are treated. The stereotypes and tropes in fiction are cemented as metanarratives in culture. What disability theorist David Bolt defines as stereotypes, tropes, or roles that become the assumed defining characteristics of everyone with that characteristic. These metanarratives and assumptions filter into fiction written for young people and are promoted by publishing houses because they believe they are the stories that people want to read, ignoring the stories that contend these ideas and stereotypes and further perpetuating these assumptions. Nonverbalism continues to be represented by stereotypes, metanarratives, and ableist ideas. These include, but are not limited to, nonverbal and non-speaking characters being limited to roles of the sidekick or background characters, non-speaking characters forced into positions of servitude, often after being physically mutilated, either to take away their independence and make them reliant on others, or as a punishment. Nonverbalism, or disability in general, being dealt with by having the character be cured, hidden away from society, or killed. The non-speaking character being presented as an object of pity, infantilized and treated as a child, or a source of inspiration who overcomes their disability, what scholars often refer to as the supercrip trope, where disability is compensated by the character excelling in other abilities. The assumption that non-speaking characters are deaf and don't talk because they haven't heard from hearing spoken language, or the only representation of non-speaking characters and nonverbalism being in stories about deaf characters, and what I've called the dumb mute trope, which suggests that the individual's lack of speech is associated with a lack of intelligence. These stories emphasize the glorification of spoken language and voice, dehumanize those who do not speak, and stress the desire for the able-bodied idea of normalcy. It is my hope that this paper helps draw attention to the misrepresentations and encourage authors, publishers, and producers to change these narratives, to have more diverse stories by authors with disabilities or written in collaboration with people who have disabilities, and to give children and young adults who are nonverbal the representation they deserve. It's time to change the narrative and change attitudes. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.